Hello, everyone. I'm Gareth Smith, and today I'm joined by another very special guest. We're joined by the Orlando Storm star wide receiver, KJ Hamler. How you doing?
Bless, man. Can't complain. Glad you guys had me on the show.
Thank you very much for coming on. Obviously, you're a name we all know here in the UK, obviously from your time over at the Denver Broncos, and you're now playing your trade there in the UFL with the Orlando Storm.
Mhm.
Congratulations on that brilliant touchdown catch last weekend. Talk us
Thank you.
through that moment because it was a hell of a grab.
It was crazy because I was always telling on the sideline. I was a little frustrated during the game. But I was telling our offensive coordinator like, "Yo, call the play. Just let me know when you're ready." And so we're dog tired driving down the field. He called it. I'm like, "All right, I got to tighten up for this one." And just O line held up. Jack put a great ball out there, and I just I did what the play call was for, and I just made a play and just try to be a playmaker as best as I possibly can.
And you've developed quite a good relationship, as you mentioned, with Jack Plummer there. Two touchdowns already going into the season. How have you built that chemistry so quickly with Jack at this point?
Just being around him, talking to him and talking to him after routes, or what does he like, what do I like, and stuff like that. We're still getting to bond it out and still growing from here. But I think we're gonna have a great relationship.
And you can't complain with the start of the season. 3-0, great start to the year. Was this how you thought this season would be going so far?
I mean, yeah, I think Coach Beck is a great leader, um, great man, positive influence to all of us. He motivates us, and that's what a leader of a team's supposed to do. So I think it all starts with him. The coaching staff, they bust their butts to just get everything right. Make adjustments and how we should do things the right way. And then it comes down to the guys that's playing on the field. I die about my boys out there, and they'll die about me. And I think we all have each other's back and do our 111th, and we'll always be fine. So I think it's going how it's supposed to go.
And obviously, you mentioned Coach Beck there, who is very experienced in the spring leagues, being the former Battlehawks coach, and
Yeah.
obviously now with yourselves. How important do you think it is to someone who understands this league as a head coach, particularly with the points after plays where it's now 2 point, 1 point, 3 point plays? How important do you think is having someone who understands that already in the locker room?
I think you always want to have a great mind that's to play your leader. Um, Coach Beck always does. He always thinks situationally and okay, what can we get here? What can we get there? And sometimes it depends on the players, not the plays. You know what I'm saying? So I think he picked a great group of guys to come on this team and everybody be valuable in their own way. So having a great mind like Beck is amazing. He's an amazing dude to be around.
And how did it feel having an overtime win last week at Cairns? Because that's always exciting to win in that kind of format.
Yeah. I kind of, a win's a win. A win's a win. So you're not gonna knock it, but I didn't know that's how the rules were. And
Yeah,
so, with two penalties and stuff like that, like I was ready to go down to the wire. Like I'm like, all right, this is what greatness is for right here. You know what I mean? So I'm in my head
yeah.
thinking when everybody runs on the field, I'm like, how do we win? I'm like, we didn't even score yet. So I think that's the only part I didn't like, but a win is a win.
And obviously, going into this weekend versus when you think of Spring League football, Birmingham Stallions is obviously a team that everyone thinks of, the multi-time champions in this kind of format. How excited are you to go up against a team at the moment that seems to be not doing as well as a lot of people may have thought this year?
Yeah, I think the Stallions are a great team, honestly. I know a couple guys over there. I know they got a lot of playmakers. It's week to week. This the UFL. I feel like every any team could be beat. It doesn't matter. So it's football. You still got NFL caliber guys in all of these rooms and all of these teams. So you can't get it twisted and can't get it mistaken. So just gotta treat them like we treat everybody else, and put our best foot forward.
And do you have any personal goals going into this season? Obviously, it's still got a few more weeks left to go. What's
Yeah.
what's the target for yourself?
Uh, I want UFL MVP. Somehow, some way
Yeah,
possible. 1,000 yards. Um, and go 12-0. That's really the main
and
goal.
obviously 12-0 is obviously something that was be a hell of an achievement, particularly for a team that's brand new into this league. But obviously it's interesting being in Orlando. Obviously Orlando, very famous for a mouse and theme parks and its sports teams, whether it be basketball. And obviously the state of Florida is a big footballing state. How exciting do you think it is to potentially have fans from all around the world while on holiday in Orlando coming down and checking out your games?
I think it's exciting. You got all type of different faces out there, and and they come to see us, and we greatly and dearly appreciate that. Because it's a little different than NFL, but it's still football at the end of the day. So the fact that we're having fans out there and having halftime shows and stuff like that, I think the UFL is doing a great job with that.
And obviously the league itself is obviously now evolving year on year. And we are seeing obviously more and more players like yourselves who are names from the from the NFL coming in. How important do you think it is for leagues like this to give players like yourself that chance who your time in the NFL was even massively hampered by injuries, giving you that chance to show that you're still the guy that was drafted in the second round?
Yeah. And I think everybody has a story, and I'm one of those stories. High draft pick, and I don't think it's ever been my talent. I think I've always left big plays out there in the field. It was just more so understanding my body and what I need to be doing routinely. I was young going into Denver. I was 20. I'm 26 now, so I'm still, now I understand it more. And sometimes, you just have freak accidents happen like I had, and
Mm.
but a lot of the times, some guys don't even get a chance in the league. I think that's the messed up part about it. So it's like leagues like this to showcase what you can really do and still do, give a better advantage for you to get back to the main goal.
Obviously, you're still showing you are still as explosive as ever. Like that coverage, he was nowhere near you once you beat him on that one. So you are still obviously showing you are still got that explosive speed that we all know you for. With the rest of the season coming up, what do you think? How are you taking each game week by week? Like, what's the mentality you are going as you're going through this season?
Honestly, as long as we get a win, that's all that matters. I go in there to put good things on film, in every aspect as a receiver supposed to be, and also on special teams. I just want to showcase me, and prove to myself that I'm still that guy that I know I can be, and I can still play at the level that I know I can play at. Um, but at the end of the day, the main goal is to be 12-0 and win that championship. And then we'll let God handle the rest.
And obviously, we're a week away from the NFL draft now. You're someone who's been through that process. Do you want to tell us what this week is like as a player going into that? Because obviously, for a lot of us, we never get to know what this is like. But for people like yourself who've been through it, tell us what that week's like.
Honestly, it's the most stressful but amazing week of your life because like unless you're guaranteed, top 32 pick, it's kind of nerve wracking, I was my process was I was here in first round and second round, and I had tweaked my hammy before the combine. I'm like, oh, I don't get to run my 40. I don't get to show these guys my speed, But
Mm.
at the end of the day, it's all about your film, I think, So, when your name gets called, no matter what round it is, it's a blessing because a lot of dudes don't get that. You're still a one percenter, you know. And still to be in the NFL, you're still a one percenter. Not a lot of dudes get that opportunity. So, make the best out of it. Doesn't matter which round you go, just make the best out of it.
One thing I would like obviously ask you, so the last question before I let you go. At the moment, obviously, there's a lot of people who don't have teams they support. At the NFL at this point, all Brits know who they support. We've all got teams. UFL is pretty much up for grabs. You are the tourist hub of America, being in Orlando. Why should a Brit come down and support the Orlando Storm?
Um, hey, we're 3-0. We will continue to win and continue to ball out. And at the end of the day, if you love football, you love football. Come down and watch a game. And you'll see some different guys. That's like, wow, that'll really shock you and stuff like that. So yeah, go Storm.
And obviously, the stadium itself, the Inter and Coach Stadium, obviously, lovely stadium for those who've never been to it. Well worth downtown Orlando, very easy to get to. But more importantly, make sure you check out theufl.com/tickets and get your tickets to go down and support KJ and the rest of the team. But thank you very much for your time today. It's truly amazing to have you on, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you. Appreciate you for having me.
And obviously, thank you everyone at home for watching. We'll be back again soon with another special guest.